Live from KSAT 12. Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
A woman was stabbed while lying in bed overnight. More details on a suspect just ahead.
A bombshell report shedding light on President Trump's tax returns. I'm ABC's Elizabeth Schulze. That story coming up.
And taking a look out with live cam this morning, 80 degrees for now, but changes ahead. We're going to check in with Mike right now.
And a good morning to you, everybody. It is Monday, the 28th, and it is oppressively humid out there this morning. But we know changes are coming. We just have to be a little patient.
Yes, I was excited about the changes, and then I walked out. I was like, oh, not yet. Not yet.
Well, let's get the timing of this cold front, and we know it's going to pack quite a punch, Mike Osterhage.
Yes, indeed. Very windy conditions, and the air is drying out. It's moving through the area right now. It's just, yeah, so here in town, it's just a matter of time, waiting maybe the next hour or so as it moves on through. So here's a look outside. Nothing is going on. Tell you one thing, cameras are going to be shaking later on this morning with this thing moving on through. 80 here in town, 73 Bulverde, and then mid-60s in the hill country. And here you can see the front sliding on in here, and the actual wind shift will probably be obviously even sooner than that. We do have a little bit of rain that's associated with that as well. That's continuing to slide down to the south. So temperatures up in Austin, 73, and like I said, 65 up there in Junction. But then you look at the dew point temperatures, and they're really starting to drop off. It's, like Mark said, oppressively humid out there. 75, some of the highest humidity that we've seen this season, basically, but then dropping off into the 50s and low 50s. So we'll get much drier air coming on in here. Winds have started to shift a little bit out there at the airport, as well as New Braunfels, and then really picking up further off to the northwest. And we do have some wind gusts. 31 right now in Fredericksburg. One report, winds were gusting 40 miles per hour up around Austin. And so with that, we do have a wind advisory in effect up until 1 o'clock this afternoon. It'll still be breezy after that, but the strongest winds are going to be in the first portion of the day. Mold, ragweed, both on the low side. Temperatures, so we're in the upper 70s, 80 right now. We'll drop down going for mid 60s, a shower or two, and gusty winds, 20, 30 mile per hour winds gusting on top of that. And then 75 later on this afternoon. Much drier air and still kind of breezy this afternoon. It's going to be chilly the next couple of mornings. How long will it last? Details coming up. Time saver traffic right now. And Officer Marcus Trio, I bet you're going to be saying two hands on the wheel later on today.
Not only two hands on the wheel, Mike, but actually reduce that speed. Right now, the highways look pretty good, except for one little thing. This is I-10 and Medical. You can start to kind of see a little bit of sheen there. Now the sprinkles are coming down on I-10 between 6 and 4 and the downtown area all the way through here. I-10 and Wurzbach, you can make it out a little bit better, that dampness on the road. So reduce that speed, increase the following distance, and both hands on the wheel. Put away those distractions this morning. Mark?
Thank you, Marcus. New this morning, a woman recovering after San Antonio police say she was stabbed overnight while lying in bed. It happened just before 3 this morning in the 3000 block of Moss Spring Drive, just west of Palo Alto on the city's southwest side. SAPD says a woman's son was arguing with her about taking the car to go somewhere. Later, after the woman went to bed, she told police she was stabbed by her son. The son was detained by police on a suspicion of aggravated assault. The woman was taken to an area hospital. Well, a new report from the New York Times says President Donald Trump did not pay taxes for 10 out of 15 years before taking office in 2016.
Now the president is responding to those allegations. ABC's Elizabeth Schulze is in Washington with the latest.
The president's elusive tax returns have been in question for years, but now the New York Times reports it's obtained more than 2 decades of tax return data for him and his business. According to the paper, the president paid no income taxes at all in 10 out of the 15 years before he took office, largely because he allegedly reported losing more money than he made. The president denying those accusations.
Totally fake news. No, actually, I paid tax, and you'll see that as soon as my tax returns. It's under audit.
The Times says the information was obtained from sources with legal access to it. ABC News has not seen those documents, which also reportedly show he paid just $750 in federal income taxes in 2016, and again his first year in the White House. When asked repeatedly how much he has paid in federal taxes, President Trump refused to say.
First of all, I paid a lot, and I paid a lot of state income taxes.
In the past, he has boasted about beating the system.
I have legally used the tax laws to my benefit and to the benefit of my company, my investors, and my employees. I mean, honestly, I have brilliantly used those laws.
The self-proclaimed millionaire is hemorrhaging cash, according to the news outlet. And revenue from The Apprentice is running out. And within the next 4 years, more than $300 million in loans for which he is personally responsible come due. The Times reports lobbyists and foreign officials paid top dollar at Trump properties like his Mar-a-Lago resort and Washington hotel, transactions that could be seen as conflicts of interest as the president did not divest from those businesses when taking office.
It'll all be revealed. It's going to come out. But after the auditors, they're doing their assessment. We've been negotiating for a long time.
The paper says profits at Mar-a-Lago rose after Trump announced his candidacy, with the president bringing in $6 million in initiation fees for the exclusive club in 2016. In a statement to ABC News, the Trump Organization says in part the story is, quote, riddled with gross inaccuracies. Over the past decade, the president has paid tens of millions of dollars in personal taxes to the federal government. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
And we apologize, we had the wrong correspondent on that story. Now to the latest on former campaign manager for President Trump, Brad Parscale. He was reportedly armed with a gun and threatening to harm himself at his Fort Lauderdale, Florida home over the weekend.
Parscale has some ties to Texas, particularly San Antonio. Our Sarah Costa joins us now with more. Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning. And according to our sister station in Miami, Parscale's wife called police this weekend saying he was armed with multiple firearms inside the home and was threatening to hurt himself. Officers eventually got into his house and took him to a nearby hospital. Parscale, who is a former San Antonian and Trinity University graduate, began working for the Trump campaign during the 2016 campaign. He launched the official website for the campaign, and he also handled social media efforts. A statement from President Trump's campaign communication director says, quote, Brad Parscale is a member of our family, and we all love him. We are ready to support him and his family in any way possible, end quote. Parscale was named campaign manager for the president's re-election bid this year, but was demoted from the position back in July. Mark and Stephanie.
Thank you, Sarah. Now to the latest on a San Antonio police sergeant who is now in custody and facing a DWI charge. Sergeant Glenn Mikhailuk was arrested yesterday in the 21,000 block of Blanco Road. According to Police Chief William McManus, he has been with the department for 29 years. He will be placed on administrative leave pending the results of a criminal investigation.
Right now it's 4:38, 80 degrees.
Still ahead on GMSA, a first look on how police say NFL legend Joe Montana and his wife thwarted the attempted kidnapping of their grandchild.
And up next, an update on U.S. Secretary of State's trip to Greece, the first stop on a 5-day visit to Europe.
And taking a look out with live cam, Mike Osterhage says it's just a matter of time before we feel that cold front. For now, 80 degrees. We'll be right back.
441 also making headlines this morning. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo arrived in Greece early this morning after holding talks with NATO's Secretary General on tensions in the eastern Mediterranean. Relations between NATO members, Greece and Turkey, are always tense, but they have further deteriorated this year over longstanding disputes, including maritime boundaries and energy rights. Pompeo arrived in Greece's second largest city shortly after midnight on the first leg of a 5-day trip to Europe. It's the first visit by a U.S. Secretary of State to Thessaloniki. Pompeo will meet with leaders to renew the two countries' shared commitment to advance security and peace in the eastern Mediterranean and celebrate the strongest U.S.-Greek relationship in decades.
In California, several buildings were set ablaze in Napa County as crews battled wildfires in that area. Footage shows buildings reduced to their foundations by the fires, which were spreading fast through the county known for its vineyards. Now, firefighters used aircraft to drop fire retardant and water over those flames, and the U.S. Forest Service reporting it is extending the closure of all 9 national forests in California due to fire conditions. California, along with parts of western coast states, have been beset by forest fires over the summer, and a rise in temperatures in the area are drier than usual.
Well, thousands made it out to the first ever Big Tex Fair food drive-through this in Dallas this weekend. Organizers say nearly 3,000 vehicles lined up outside the state fairgrounds to get some tasty treats. The line going for miles. Some people waited more than 2 hours just to get inside, but once inside, they were able to pick up their fair food along with some carnival prizes. Those who went said it was worth the wait.
We did a story about that earlier, about those packages. So that's cool. They got to take pictures and be somewhat fair-like.
Something resembling normal.
Something normal.
Something
sort of normal.
Just stay in your car, folks.
Yeah. Time now, 4:43 and 80 degrees for now.
Well, still ahead, how a local woman is using a cafe to help heal families struggling with addiction.
Also next, the latest details on how NFL legend Joe Montana saved his grandson from a kidnapper. And welcome back. It is 4:46. New details are emerging about an alleged attempt to kidnap the grandchild of NFL great Joe Montana inside his California home. ABC's Kaylee Hartung has the GMA First Look.
In this morning's GMA First Look, a big scare for one of America's most celebrated quarterbacks. Football legend Joe Montana making the greatest play of his life. He and his wife saving their 9-month-old grandchild from an attempted kidnapping. According to the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, the child was asleep in a playpen in the family's living room when a 39-year-old woman entered the home and snatched the baby. Authorities say the couple confronted the woman, tried to de-escalate the situation, and asked for the suspect to give back their grandchild. A tussle ensued, and Mrs. Montana was able to safely pry the child out of the suspect's arms. The suspect, identified as Sodzi Dolzel, fled the home. Montana flagged down deputies patrolling the area, and the woman was taken into custody soon after, charged with kidnapping and burglary. And we'll have much more on this harrowing story coming up at 7 a.m. With your GMA First Look, I'm Kaylee Hartung, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Very scary situation.
Yes.
Right now it's 4:47.
Let's go ahead and check traffic with Officer Marcus Trujillo.
And right now, as we take a look at the roadways, still looking great, except for the fact that some of those roads could be a little slick, particularly those long turns and curves. You want to watch out for that. In some areas, we do have a little bit of mist out there. 10 at Wurzbach, you can start to see that sheen to the roadway. So between 6 and 04 all the way into the downtown area, there was some mist falling down this morning. 37 at Carolina, doesn't look too bad there. And 37 at Pecan Valley, traffic's moving along fairly well. But take a look at that reflection of the roadway there, 21 at Sprucewood Lane.
Well, Mike, you weren't kidding. I mean, it's here, or almost here.
Well, it's funny because, you know, we talked about right off the top of the show how the wind has just started to shift around at the airport. Right. The humidity is dropping down, but then also we're starting to see some of that rain that is showing up on some of those TransGuide cameras. And temperatures have also dropped just a couple of degrees. We were at 80, now it's 77, but it will drop at least another 10 degrees here in town before it's all said and done. So here's a live look with live cam, and it's not really starting to shake as of yet. But like I said, I think a lot of these cameras are going to be shaken up this morning with the winds that are definitely going to be picking up. 79 Randolph, and then mid 60s out in the hill country. And look at how the dew points have dropped off. We were at 75, and now just in the past, what was it, 16 minutes, it's dropped down to 70. Dew points in the 60s and even 50s out in the hill country. So much drier air is working its way on in here, and that will continue to be the case. And that dry air will just plummet down in here, push out all the humidity. It's going to be very, very comfortable today, but then the dry air is going to be setting us up for a very chilly morning tomorrow with the clear skies and no wind tomorrow morning. And as far as the rest of the week, dew points then, they'll kind of bottom out the next couple of days and then start to come right back in here. So it's not going to be above 60, but it's not going to be as crisp this weekend. Still, it's going to be great looking all week long. Here's what it looks like on radar, and there's that line right there along the front, and that's what's producing a little bit of that light rain that's moving on through the area, and that will continue to move down to the south, and the wind has already started to pick up out there at the airport as well. Now, out of the north at 23 miles per hour, 28 New Braunfels, 30 Austin, and then we do have some wind gusts on top of that, up to 38 right now in New Braunfels and 32 out there at the airport. So it is going to be very breezy this morning, and it's those very strong winds that are prompting wind advisories through the first half of the day. This is not the coldest air. Some of the coldest for us, of course, but this is not the coldest air of the season up here to the north, but it is nice to see that this is all just plunging down to the south, and it's going to be basically sticking around all week long. We'll have temperatures that are going to be pleasant in the morning, and then, yes, afternoon highs are going to eventually warm up, but not really today. Now on the record books, it's going to be interesting because our high temperature will be from what we had this morning, but later on this afternoon, we're only going to be in about the mid-70s. 72 at noon. Very windy conditions, and I'm going for a high temperature today of 75 degrees, mostly sunny skies, and yeah, it is definitely going to be windy, even though the winds will ease up a little bit this afternoon. Wind advisory in effect, San Antonio up the I-35 corridor and then out to the west into the hill country. This is in effect till 1 o'clock this afternoon, so things will ease a little bit, but still, like I said, on the breezy side. And then tomorrow, get ready for the next couple of mornings down in the mid-50s. So that's here in town, and you can always subtract about, anywhere from 7, maybe 10 degrees going out and toward portions of the hill country, some of the low-lying areas of the hill country. So it's going to be cold tomorrow, and then nice big warm. I mean, we're going to gain almost 30 degrees, so the dry air remains in place. Warm up through Thursday, bit of a temperature check going into the weekend. Still pretty nice. I mean, all week long, very, very nice. The downside, not to, look gift horse in the mouth, no rain.
No rain, no rain. But yeah, you're right. Next couple mornings, Rock Springs, maybe Kerrville, Fredericksburg, upper 40s.
Oh, yeah. Maybe mid 40s.
Wow.
What a change.
Well, 50s here in town, too. So, if you're heading out in the mornings, grab a jacket.
Yeah, well, for most of us, it's hello fall, and we love you. Right now, it's 4:51, 77 degrees.
And coming up next, a closer look at a new local cafe where the owner is helping people heal from their battles with drug and alcohol addiction.
Let's check all your lottery numbers just to double check. Pick 3, 729, Fireball 3, Daily 4, 4705, Fireball 3.
Cash 5, 4, 16, 18, 28, 30. And Lotto Texas, 6, 11, 13, 22, 29, 32. And your Powerball numbers, 11, 21, 27, 36, 62, Powerball 24, Power Play 3. Good luck.
Since a local woman started her nonprofit years ago, thousands have overcome their battles with drugs and alcohol.
Terry Lopez started Serenity Star and Comfort Cafe, a recovery center for addicts serving Texans from all over. Our Daphne Gray has her story in her What's Up South Texas report.
To sit around the kitchen table, right? Feels way better than going to an office and, feeling judged.
Here at Comfort Cafe in San Antonio, you see many people enjoying lunch and having a good time with their friends and families. But what you may not know is that it's a recovery center helping families recover from alcohol and drug addictions together. The cafe works with Serenity Star, a recovery program in Smithsville.
We tell them, if you only want to stop using, this is not the program. If you want to change, this is the program.
59-year-old Terry Lopez co-founded the nonprofit 10 years ago. Growing up fatherless and with a rough upbringing, she started using and drinking as a teenager to cope.
A lot of people do, but none of us know who's going to wind up not being able to stop it.
She said, like most people, her addiction stemmed from self-hatred.
If Dad can't love me or stay here, why should I love me?
One day, she made the decision to get sober. While doing so, she and her partner realized recovering addicts and alcoholics like them were the best at helping other recovering addicts and alcoholics.
You can't tell me you don't know how to do it or you can't do it, because I'm doing it.
With both Serenity Star and Comfort Cafe, Terry, along with her staff, have helped thousands stay sober. 27-year-old Austin Payne is part of the staff. He became addicted to drugs after his parents divorced when he was 11.
That came with, legal issues, homelessness, not knowing where my next meal is coming from.
He went to 13 recovery centers in a 7-year period, but 2 years ago, he was introduced to the program he now works for.
There was so much shame around everything I'd done and my addiction. And I got to come in here and I was encouraged to share that with people.
The program focuses on vulnerability.
How you feel, where your kid is, how you're going to be different, what your purpose may be. Someone who wanted to die yesterday is now smiling and dancing and laughing.
Terry's and Austin's dedication to helping families recover is inspiring for What's Up South Texas.
There's always hope. It's never too late, and you are enough.
Love always prevails.
Japhanie Gray, KSAT 12 News.
Right now it's 3 till 74 degrees.
And still ahead in our next half hour, Joe Biden accusing President Donald Trump of trying to use his latest Supreme Court nomination to steal away health care for millions of Americans. We're going to have the latest.
A new report warning that the coffee machine in your kitchen could get hacked. Details ahead in Tech Bites.
Live from KSAT 12. Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
And making headlines this morning, reaction from locals after a woman was stabbed along the San Antonio Riverwalk.
And President Donald Trump continues his push to confirm his Supreme Court nomination before Election Day.
And outside with live cam, the push is on for a cold front moving through the heart of San Antonio as we speak. What about rain chances? What about wind? And what about cooler temperatures? Mike has answers for all three questions in just a moment. Good morning to you. It is Monday, September 28th.
Thanks for joining us this morning. Hope you had a wonderful weekend, and the temperature is already dropping a little bit.
As we speak, here's Mike with an update.
Yeah, last time I did long weather was about 10 minutes ago, I think. And so temperatures have dropped down another 3 degrees just in the past 10 minutes or so. And we are now at 74 as of right now. And you know what? I'm going to have to go through here Monday morning. I forgot to hit a couple of buttons on there. Let's take a look at radar right now. We do have a couple of showers that are moving through along this front, and the roads are definitely wet. This is not going to be a huge rain event by any stretch, but it's just enough to make things slippery. And Marcus is going to show you this in just a couple of minutes on some of the roads, because a lot of them, like I said, are damp in and around the area right now. And it's just a narrow little line that moves on through and it's racing down to the south. So if you're not seeing rain yet down, say, in the southern portion of Bexar County, you will in the next couple of minutes. So dew point temperatures. Now, the air temperatures, you can see on your screen, is 74 right now. We even have some 60s out in the hill country, but the air, which when we started off this morning, the dew point was up to 75 degrees half an hour ago, and it has dropped down and will continue to drop down. So all this dry air is going to work its way on in here. Randolph now at 66, Port of Say 75. Get ready, because your humidity is also going to be dropping down. The wind is out of the north at 20 miles per hour, 23 New Braunfels, and 21 up around Austin. And then we have the wind gust, 37 right now in Hondo. It was gusting to 38 just a couple of minutes ago in New Braunfels. We're going to be dealing with the stronger winds all morning long. Wind advisory in effect till 1 o'clock. It'll still be breezy this afternoon, but not as windy. So very windy, cooler. Temperatures will continue to drop down. A couple of showers around here, and then mostly sunny, windy, mid-70s. That's all what we're going to rebound to. And then very chilly start, not only tomorrow, but the next couple of days, but beautiful in the afternoon. Details coming up. Time saver traffic right now. Here is Officer Marcus Trujillo. A lot of wet roads, sir.
We're seeing a lot of damp cameras, Mike, and the problem is that just like you said earlier, there's just enough that's going to make everything slick, loosen up that dirt and oil. And this is taking a look here. This is 35 at Lotto Creek, so it's just a matter of time before the accidents start to roll in. Give it some extra time, reduce that speed, increase that following distance, and put away those distractions this morning. Mark and Stephanie.
Thank you, Marcus. We know you'll be tracking that all morning long for us. Many states starting to lift coronavirus restrictions, and here at home, some city and county parks are also starting to reopen.
Our Sarah Costa joins us now with a look at the latest coronavirus numbers in Bexar County and an update on those reopenings. Good morning, Sarah.
Morning.
Good morning, Mark and Stephanie. It's been more than 2 weeks since we saw new cases below 100, but that's what we're seeing this morning with Metro Health reporting only 46 new cases. The total confirmed cases in Bexar County sits at 57,145. The 7-day moving average is 162 cases per 24 hours. And as for deaths in the community, 3 new deaths were reported and 53 from backlog dates ranging from June 29th to September 10th. Now, as for hospitalization rates, there's a slight uptick. 221 people are in the hospital, with 86 in the ICU and 34 on ventilators. Meanwhile, Bexar County Parks and Bexar Heritage Center are set to reopen to the public today. The county's playscapes, basketball and tennis courts, and outdoor pavilions will reopen to the public. County outdoor pavilions will be available to rent for groups for 250 people or less for events exempt from the local and state executive orders. Individuals reserving outdoor pavilions will be required to have their guests use facial coverings, maintain social distancing, and provide their own hand sanitizer. Now, the city of San Antonio also says parks and some of its facilities will be reopening today, as the COVID-19 virus indicators are now showing the lowest risk level of transmission. According to a statement from the city, each of the reopened facilities will have safety protocols and physical distancing measures in place. Basketball courts, skate parks, playgrounds, and sports fields and fitness stations are among those reopening. The 10-person limit at city parks and plazas has also been lifted, and reservations for outdoor park amenities are now open. For all of these details on city and county reopening, just visit KSAT.com for more information. Mark and Stephanie.
Thank you, Sarah. 5:05 right now. President Donald Trump heaping praise on Supreme Court nominee Judge Amy Coney Barrett, saying he believes she will be easily confirmed, quote, long before Election Day, end quote.
Now, Joe Biden is warning that the president is trying to use the court to steal away health care for millions of Americans. ABC's Rachel Scott has the latest.
Republicans are in lockstep with the president and on track to confirm his Supreme Court pick before Election Day.
She is a woman of unparalleled achievement, towering intellect, sterling credentials, and unyielding loyalty to the Constitution.
The president announcing Judge Amy Coney Barrett as his nominee in the Rose Garden, 8 days after the death of Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. If confirmed, the 48-year-old would be the youngest justice on the bench. The mother of 7 and devout Catholic is strongly supported by anti-abortion rights activists and religious conservatives.
I clerked for Justice Scalia more than 20 years ago, but the lessons I learned still resonate. His judicial philosophy is mine too. A judge must apply the law as written.
Barrett was narrowly confirmed to the federal appeals court in Chicago, and she's already preparing for a bitter fight.
I have no illusions that the road ahead of me will be easy, either for the short term or the long haul.
Her confirmation would reshape the court for generations to come and cement a conservative majority. And Democrats argue health care is on the line, with the court set to take up a case on the Affordable Care Act and coverage for pre-existing conditions just 1 week after the election.
A vote for Amy Coney Barrett is a vote to decimate the health care that so many Americans need.
With the election just 37 days away, in our new ABC News Washington Post poll, the majority of Americans say the next president and the next Senate should decide who fills the seat. While President Trump uses his third nomination to fire up his base.
We have Justice Gorsuch, Justice Kavanaugh, and now we have Amy.
Joe Biden is appealing to Republican senators to summon their conscience and do right by the American people and delay the proceedings.
The Senate has to stand strong for our democracy. They must not act on this nomination until the American people finish the process they're already begun of selecting their president and their Congress.
Senate Republicans have put forth an aggressive timeline. The first hearing is expected to take place on October 12th. That could set the stage for a final confirmation vote just days before the election, and that would be unprecedented. Never before in American history has a Supreme Court justice been confirmed so close to the election. Rachel Scott, ABC News, Washington.
Back here at home, some people are saying they're a bit uneasy after learning a woman was stabbed along the Riverwalk over the weekend. They say they never expected something like that to happen at a place they consider mostly safe. The stabbing happened just after midnight Sunday. San Antonio police said the woman and her boyfriend were walking when a man approached them, pulled a knife, and stabbed the woman in the arm. He then ran off after getting in a fight with the woman's boyfriend. Some residents say they're frustrated someone would take advantage of a nice place just to commit a crime.
Don't mess with Texas. We're already going through a lot. Adding things to it is just not going to help.
San Antonio police encouraging everyone to be extra aware of their surroundings no matter where you are in town. At this time, police are still looking for a suspect. If you have any information that could lead to an arrest, you are urged to call San Antonio police immediately.
Time now, it's 5:09 and 74 degrees for now.
Still ahead on your morning show, get ready for a new kind of driver's license. Chinese company unveiling a flying electric vehicle prototype.
And next, why psychiatrists say now is more important than ever for parents to take active steps to maintain their mental health.
And take active steps right now to grab your umbrella, maybe a light jacket, and then get ready for the next couple of mornings. Mike has a ton to talk about in our local weather forecast, and that is still to come.
And welcome back. Time now is 5:13. The pandemic is putting pressure on parents as many adjust to the changes of working, raising a child, and getting them through school.
Which is why psychiatrists say it's important for parents to take active steps to maintain their mental health.
Our Sarah Costa joins us in the studio to tell us some of the ways that parents can do that. Good morning, Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
Good morning. And Stephanie, I'm sure you know right now it's really difficult balancing work and virtual learning. And it's a lot. So parents are going through a lot right now. So if you are a parent, one of the biggest things doctors want you to know is that you are not alone. Dr. Harry Croft says it is important for parents to realize that stress and the strain they may be feeling is not their fault. Dr. Croft says it's critically important for parents to take care of themselves as well. He says parents should do whatever they can to give themselves a mental break, whether that is eating well, getting some more sleep, or even just talking to someone or taking time to enjoy a warm bath. Whatever it is for you, Dr. Croft says to just do it, because if your battery starts running low, he says you cannot be much help to those around you who may need you. And Dr. Croft also says it can be helpful to talk to other parents going through the same thing. If you are a parent struggling with helping your kid learn remotely, he says talking to others can not only help you vent, but could also teach you valuable coping methods you may not otherwise have known about. And there are many ways to connect right now, whether it is a phone call or text, a video chat, or even safely meeting up at a place around the city. And lastly, Dr. Croft says to be careful about drinking or taking other drugs to help you get through this pandemic. He says substance abuse can be common and it will just cause more problems as time goes on. Morgan, Stephanie.
All right, Sarah, thank you very much. And we run these kinds of stories pretty often, and usually it's a story we got from somewhere. But what I like about this one is that Dr. Harry Croft is local.
Yes, he always gives great advice. And personally, the stress relief is running, and it sure does help. And if my husband's like, "What? You're going to run? Do we have time?" I'm like, "You better let me have my run." Wow.
And you said, I mean, of course, having a family is always a balancing act and a juggle, but you said right now it's intense.
Yeah, it's been different.
She's making it happen.
You guys know.
Yep. 5:15, 74 degrees.
And still ahead, could your high-tech coffee machine get hacked? We'll have more details on a new report that says it could be programmed for some purposes like that.
Here's to the doers. To all the people who realize they can do more with less asthma. Thanks to Dupixent, the add-on treatment for specific types of moderate to severe asthma. Dupixent isn't for sudden breathing problems. It can improve lung function for better breathing in as little as 2 weeks and help prevent severe asthma attacks. It's not a steroid, but can help reduce or eliminate oral steroids. Dupixent can cause serious allergic reactions, including anaphylaxis. Get help right away if you have rash, shortness of breath, chest pain, tingling, or numbness in your limbs. Tell your doctor if you have a parasitic infection. And don't change or stop your asthma treatments, including steroids, without talking to your doctor. Are you ready to do more with less asthma? Talk to your asthma specialist about Dupixent. If your financial situation has changed, we may be able to help.
In today's Tech Bites, the ban on TikTok has been put on hold. Hours before it was set to take effect, a federal judge blocked the Trump administration's move to ban TikTok downloads in the U.S. The move gives the app's owner more time to work on its deal with Oracle and Walmart. A flying car is making news at the Beijing Motor Show. The electric Kiwi Go-Go has a drone look to it and can carry 2 people. It's designed to fly 80 feet in the air. Don't expect it to hit the market anytime soon. It's only in the research and development phase. And finally, it looks like nothing is safe from hackers, not even your coffee machine. A tech researcher hacked into a smart coffee maker just to see if it was possible. He launched a ransom attack, successfully creating a noisy malfunction. It could be stopped only by paying up or permanently pulling the plug. I mean, how much are we talking? Those are your Tech Bites. Have a great day.
A ransomware attack on a coffee machine, that's serious business for some people in the morning.
Well, that is true. That's
Without
true.
coffee, they can't function.
Well, I am glad that we do not have a smart coffee machine.
I have a dumb one too.
I do too.
It's good to have.
We're safe. Yeah.
Dumb coffee makers rule. 5:20 right now. You may be using the windshield wipers this morning. Let's get an update on the roads, and then we'll check in with Mike. Marcus.
Yeah. How's it looking?
Well, right now we do have a little accident there, so those slick conditions already getting the best of somebody. This is actually northbound 281. This is the 281 at almost camera. However, it's facing back towards Hildebrand on those northbound 281 lanes. Take a look at some other areas. 281 and Sprucewood Lane, there's a great example of areas where you have those turns and curves. There will be slick, so you will need to reduce that speed this morning. Take a look at 37 Hackberry, north and southbound lanes. So far, it looked pretty good, so no issues there. And as we move over here, 37 Carolina, you see not too bad. So it's kind of spotty here and there through that construction area. 10 at Hoyerman, no problems. But we do have that accident there, 281 at Hildebrand.
And it's good to see some new stretches of 10 and 281 open on a Monday morning, Marcus.
Indeed. So far, so good. Keep your fingers crossed.
We will.
Thank you. Mike, get us updated.
Yeah,
well, the rain is not going to last all that long. It's just a very, very narrow band of rain that's sliding on through here. First of all, beautiful view down there at the beach. Keep calm and safe. Yes, indeed. Turn your camera sideways if you would, please, when you send in the KSAT Connect pictures. All right. Nothing is showing up really in this picture. And the other thing is, well, notice how the camera's jiggling just a little bit because the wind has started to pick up. We're down to 74 degrees right now, so we've lost about 6 just in the past hour, and mid-60s in parts of the hill country. Then you've got the dew point temperatures. This number has dropped down about 10 degrees in the past hour as the front has moved through. We got low 50s out there in the hill country. The wind has now started to shift around, and we will continue to see this dry air pour on in here, push all the humidity on out by later on this afternoon. So it's going to be a really, really comfortable afternoon. Also, with the windy conditions this morning and some drier air coming in here, that will help to dry out the roads fairly quickly. But like Marcus has been pointing out, just take it easy and watch out for some of those slick spots because, as you can see, it's not a lot of rain. Most of it is through town already, but it was just enough to make the roads kind of damp. Not a lot to wash off all the oil and dirt off the roads either. So this line of broken showers will continue to work its way down to the south. Wind out of the north about 20-25 miles per hour, and then gusting on top of that. 33 here in town, 38 mile per hour winds gusts in Hondo, and winds were gusting earlier this morning. Report as the front just moved on through about 40 miles per hour. So that's what you can expect if the front hasn't moved through. Winds all of a sudden going to be picking up very, very quickly, and it's going to be windy, especially the first portion of the day. And then even though it'll still be breezy, winds will ease up a little bit by later on this afternoon. So here's what we're looking at. The big roller coaster action in the upper level steering winds coming straight down from the north, and that's what's pulling down that front on in here. And it's going to get even colder tomorrow morning because we won't have the wind to deal with, and that cooler air will have kind of settled into place. So we'll be down around mid-50s the next couple of mornings. That's here in town, and you can usually rule of thumb, subtract 7-10 degrees going out toward the hill country. So very cool in the hill country, and it won't be as chilly in the mornings going into the rest of the week, but we'll still have this nice northwesterly airflow, and so that means we're still going to have some beautiful weather for the rest of the week going into the weekend. Downside, no rain, unfortunately. 72 at noon today, partly cloudy skies, windy conditions, and temperatures will continue to drop down and then only rebound back up into the mid-70s later on today. Still kind of breezy this afternoon. We do have the wind advisory for San Antonio and going up to the north and east and then out in portions of the hill country. only till 1 o'clock. So that's when the strongest winds are going to be in the first part of the day, and then they die down a little bit. Tomorrow, mid-50s, same thing on Wednesday morning, and then we get up into the low to mid-80s both days. So huge warm-ups. Looks like we'll top off at 90 on Thursday, and then temperatures get trimmed just a little bit, but still nice, pleasant. I mean, you got those low temperatures down below 60. That means you've got dew point temperatures still down below 60, which means it's comfortable.
And we have a reason to pull out our sweaters in the morning.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, next couple of mornings, jacket and light sweater, but then you won't need it in the afternoon.
That's okay.
That's okay.
That's okay.
We'll grin and bear it, and big grin. 524, 74 degrees.
And still ahead, a first look at the newest actress chosen to play Tinkerbell in the latest live-action Peter Pan movie.
A new actress has been chosen to play Tinkerbell in the latest big screen version of Peter Pan. Easier for me to say. Plus, Taylor Swift is breaking some new records.
Here's CNN's David Daniel with the Hollywood Minute.
Taylor Swift is breaking new ground among women in music. Her album Folklore just topped the Billboard 200 for a 7th week, giving Swift a career total of 47 weeks at #1 on that chart. That breaks the previous record for female artists, previously held by Whitney Houston. World on Fire is the latest music video from Chris Daughtry, who's about to wrap up a U.S. tour without ever having left Nashville. Daughtry's played 18 acoustic live stream shows in the last month and a half, each supporting a specific theater in a different U.S. city, though of course people can watch from anywhere. His final stop, Tuesday night, benefits Nashville's Cannery Ballroom. Tickets and more info at DaughtryOfficial.com.
I play Brenda. I am the straightforward science nerd.
From science nerd to fairy dust, Yara Shahidi has been tapped to play Tinkerbell in the latest big screen version of Peter Pan. The live-action film, titled Peter Pan and Wendy, is also set to star Jude Law as Captain Hook. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
528, 74 degrees and dropping.
That's true. Still ahead in our next half hour as President Donald Trump and Joe Biden get ready to debate tomorrow night. The president's taxes are once again taking center stage.
Looking to buy a new PS5 or a new Xbox for the holidays. We have a breakdown on which one may be the better deal. Good morning. It is Monday, the 28th of September.
Thanks for joining us. Hope you had a beautiful weekend, and we are excited because those temperatures are dropping.
That's right. That front moving through as we speak, and with it a little bit of precipitation. Here's Mike and Marcus with updates.
Yeah, it's been just enough to make the roads kind of damp. So if you are hitting the roads, make sure you do take it easy. Marcus is going to be talking more about that in just a couple of moments. And I think if we look long enough, this camera may start to shake just a little bit there because it is definitely breezy. 74 degrees right now. Dew point. These numbers, temperatures dropped down 6 in the past roughly hour and a half. The dew point has dropped down 10 degrees in the past hour and a half. It was just miserably humid when I walked out the back door to come into work this morning, but now that's all changed and the wind has picked up out of the north at 20 miles per hour and then gusting on top of that. And here's the line right along that front, and it's a very narrow line of some light, maybe a couple of moderate showers that continue to work their way down to the south, and everything is pretty much out of the city right now, but obviously the roads are still kind of damp. Now, with the windy conditions and drier air moving on in here, that will help to dry roads a little bit quicker, but you're still going to have to deal with some of that throughout the morning hours. And if you haven't seen the front move through yet down to the south, if you haven't had the wind shift around, just be ready for that, and also those couple little showers around here. So temperatures get mid-60s out in the hill country, and just last time I was doing weather, it was still at a 75 for a dew point at Port SA, and now it's dropped down as well. But look at that. Down to the south in Atascosa County around Pleasanton, 75. Your dew point's going to be dropping down as well. And this is the dry air that will continue to move on in here throughout the day. And very blustery conditions. Winds are gusting 30, 35, close to 40 miles per hour. And that's going to be through the first portion of the day. And that's why the wind advisory is in effect up until 1 o'clock this afternoon, although still breezy even after that. And we'll make it up to 72 at noon and 75 for a high temperature later on an afternoon temperature. I think we've already hit the high officially, but that's where we're going to be rebounding. Wind out of the north, 15, 25 miles per hour, kind of gusty, and then winds diminish. And then get ready, because it's going to be jacket weather the next couple of mornings. Details coming up in a few minutes. Time saver traffic right now, and here is Officer Marcus Trujillo.
Well, thank you, Mike. And as we take a look, folks, we do have that one accident northbound main lanes of 281 just past the Hildebrand Bridge. As you see, we're just about ready to clear that accident. Those long turns and curves, you want to use caution this morning. In various parts, we have slick streets out there from the mist and very light rain that's been falling. So remember, put away those distractions, reduce that speed, and increase that following distance. Mark and Stephanie.
Thank you, Marcus. Late breaking news right now. We're getting reports of a shooting on Tropical Drive near Pompeo.
That's on the northeast side of town. Our Katrina Weber is live there now with the latest.
Well, good morning. We are still awaiting details from police that we are pretty far away from the scene. We're a good block and a half, but you can see the lights down there where the officers are working. Now, they did move us back just within the last 15 minutes, but we have some video to show you from how things looked. Pretty frenzied when we arrived. Police, an ambulance here as well. This happened about 4:30 this morning, a little bit before. I did get a sergeant to confirm that this shooting did involve an officer, and from what we have seen, it looks like the officer may have been the one who did the shooting. The person who was loaded into an ambulance did not appear to be in any kind of uniform. He appeared to be a civilian. But again, we are waiting for details from police here this morning about this shooting. The man who was on the stretcher did not seem to be too happy to see all the cameras as he was being loaded into the ambulance. We don't have any word on his condition, where on his body he was shot, or how this all began. But we do know that shortly before 4:30, we heard officers on the scanner yelling, shots fired, and then we arrived to find the scene. And again, we are waiting for details from police. As soon as we know more about this, we'll be sure to share that with you. Reporting live on the northeast side, Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
Katrina, thanks for keeping us updated. Other headlines this morning: President Trump's taxes once again taking center stage and will likely be a main issue during his debate with Democratic challenger Joe Biden tomorrow night.
As CNN's John Lawrence reports, the New York Times just released a report about President Donald Trump and his financial dealings.
President Trump's campaign facing a bombshell report.
Here it is, a month before the election, October surprise.
According to the New York Times, Donald J. Trump paid $750 in federal income taxes the year he won the presidency. In his first year in the White House, he paid another $750.
This suggests that Donald Trump needs the presidency right now because of the bills he has coming due.
The Times adds Trump didn't pay federal income taxes 10 out of 15 years starting in 2000 because he reported losing far more money than he made. The president called the Times report fake news.
Actually, I paid tax, and you'll see that as soon as my tax returns. It's under audit. They've been under audit for a long time.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi released a statement saying the Times story shows President Trump's disdain for America's working families. Democratic National Committee Chairman Tom Perez said Trump is using the presidency to line his pockets instead of helping the American people.
You have in Donald Trump a president who spends his time thinking about how he can work his way out of paying taxes, of meeting the obligation that every other working person in this country meets every year.
Some political analysts say the Times report is just a storm in a teacup.
It doesn't look like there's anything criminal in here, and he takes legal tax breaks that, as I understand it, are common to real estate investors.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
And Governor Greg Abbott issued a disaster declaration for Brazoria County this weekend after officials there confirmed the presence of a deadly amoeba in the Lake Jackson water supply. That amoeba has been linked to the death of a 6-year-old boy who died earlier this month of an infection caused by the microscopic organism. Lake Jackson's mayor says he simply doesn't know when the water will be safe and is asking people there to be patient until this is resolved.
To sports news this morning, Miami Heat defeated the Boston Celtics last night, Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals, to advance to the NBA Finals. Fans could be seen screaming, holding flags, and celebrating in the streets of Miami overnight. Heat won the decisive game, 125-113, and had 6 players in double digits. The Heat will face LeBron James and the LA Lakers in the NBA Finals, which begin Wednesday in the league's Orlando bubble.
A lot of excitement there.
In Miami.
Time now, 5:38 and 74 degrees for now.
If an Xbox Series X or a PlayStation 5 is on your Christmas list this year, You may not know which console is the better deal. Well, just ahead, we'll compare the systems, find out whether they are worth the money.
And also next, a first look at a new Barbie doll that's encouraging people to get out and vote.
And if you're just now joining us, that front moving through as we speak, expect some rain, and then it's going to be a blustery day out there. Mike will talk about how windy it will be and how long that wind advisory will be in effect for parts of San Antonio and surrounding areas.
And welcome back. It's 5:41. In your morning consumer headlines, a new Barbie doll encouraging people to vote. It's a relaunch of Mattel's Shero doll featuring activist and actress Yara Shahidi, but it's getting a fashion makeover. This Barbie wears a t-shirt that says vote, and Mattel says this doll will be available to ship on October 9th, just in time for Election Day.
Well, the pandemic has been good for Costco's bottom line, bringing the annual profit above $4 billion for the first time ever. Big box retailers' revenue 12% higher than just a year ago. Part of that reason, the Americans are stockpiling bulk goods because of COVID-19. But another is that food is selling so fast there's far less spoilage than before. However, coronavirus is having a negative impact too. The pandemic has forced the retailer to provide hazard pay for employees, and there have been additional costs for PPE and sanitation.
Sonic getting in the Halloween spirit with some unusual spins on some usual frozen desserts. So instead of the ever-present pumpkin, the trick-or-treat blasts fold in M&Ms, Snickers, or pieces of Oreos. But you'll have to get your treats soon. They're all going to go away on November 1st.
Plenty of time to enjoy that.
We'll try it out, sure.
Right now it's 5:42, 74 degrees, and the temperature's probably going to drop from there.
I think so. Looking forward to that. Coming up next, one of the first public housing projects in San Antonio left in limbo. We're going to look at some proposed redevelopment plans and what it could mean for the people who live there.
It's one of the first public housing projects in the country. More than 1,200 people live there, and their future is in limbo.
This week's episode of KSAT Explains takes a look at the history, the proposed redevelopment plans, and the controversy. Myra Arthur has a preview.
The Alazon Apache Courts, the public housing project, has been a staple of the West Side since 1940. But the future of this housing project is now in limbo.
It has been contemplated that we would demolish, and it seems like it would be the most cost-effective as well as the best way to modernize that community.
The units are made of cinder block. They're small, they're run down, and don't even have central air.
The way that they're designed is antiquated.
No matter how it looks from the inside or outside, it's still it's still home.
A lot of us want to stay. We don't want to be put in different sides of town, all over San Antonio, get dispersed across the city.
Plans to build new mixed-income housing being met with opposition.
We don't want to ever say no to newcomers. We also don't want to see our longstanding families pushed out.
Its historic past hard for some to leave.
It's just something that's not, it's irreplaceable.
The homeowners are not going to survive. The small businesses are not going to survive. The taxes are going to go up. The cost of living in this neighborhood is going to go up, and the people that have been here for generations, they're going to be gone because they can't afford it anymore.
The history, the plans, and the controversy. KSAT Explains the battle over the Alazon Apache Courts.
And that drops Thursday, October 1st. Well, the video game console wars heating up as we approach the holidays. They are right around the corner. Sony and Microsoft once again doing everything they can to get your money.
So if you're wondering which one to get your kids or maybe even yourself for Christmas, RJ Marcus breaks down which one might be worth your money.
For decades, video game consoles have been boasting better games, high-quality graphics, and next-generation technology. This time around, it's Microsoft's Xbox Series X versus Sony's PlayStation 5. It's been recently announced that both consoles will begin at a starting price of $499. So what do you get for your money? When it comes to internal specs, the Xbox Series X is just a little more powerful than the PS5, but that difference is minimal when it comes to gameplay. When it comes to storage, Xbox has a slight edge with 1 terabyte of hard drive space compared to the PS5's 825 gigs. Of course, other storage options are available for more money, but after that, both consoles are basically the same. They both have 16 gigabytes of memory and support 4K and 8K resolution. resolution gaming. And while they support 8K, most people don't even own that technology right now, as it's still a bit pricey. So what it really comes down to is what kind of games do you like to play? Xbox is synonymous with games like Halo Infinite and racing games like Forza, and PlayStation offers exclusives like Spider-Man Miles Morales and the God of War series. But a lot of games can be played on both. In the age of portable gaming, both also offer cloud gaming. Xbox just debuted its Xbox Game Pass, and Sony's PlayStation Now has been active for some time. Both offer a huge library of games for a subscription price of $9.99 a month. Both consoles are also backwards compatible, which gives Series X owners access to Xbox One games and PS5 owners access to PS4 games. And if you're thinking $499 for a console is a little too steep, both companies are also offering a cheaper digital-only version of their consoles. The digital edition PS5 will be $399. Both ditch their physical disk drives and lessen hard drive space and other features to save on cost. Both will still be backwards compatible. If you're into VR gaming, Sony has confirmed that the PS5 will be compatible with the PlayStation VR. Xbox does not currently have a console-based virtual reality option. RJ Marcus, KSAT 12 News.
Xbox Series X comes out November 10th. PlayStation 5 comes out 2 days later on the 12th.
And if you're looking for an alternative, Nintendo is still going strong with its Switch and Switch Lite console.
Let's check traffic at just about 10 till 6.
Are the roads still slick? Or some of them, I guess, right?
Well, we're seeing it in spots. And we had that accident earlier this morning there, 21 Hildebrand. That has cleared up and is out of the way. Let's take a look at 410 at Fredericksburg. Just look at the volume of traffic just out of nowhere all of a sudden. Looks like somebody opened up the starting gates there at the Speedway. Out there to those eastbound main lanes, 410 at Fredericksburg Road. 37 at Indian Hills, not too bad there. And as you move over to 10 there at 1604, you can see traffic in both directions running smoothly. But depending on where you're at, you may still encounter some slick roads.
That is true. And as we went on the air this morning, some folks were saying, hey, Mike, where's this front? And you said, oh, just wait.
Yeah, it was the same thing when I walked outside the front door this morning. It was like, okay, where is the front? And it was just up to the north, started working its way down to the south and is continuing to move on through here. And that's what's been squeezing out some of those showers. Beautiful picture there. I love it. High drama in the western sky. I don't know if it's high drama, but it's just pretty. Take a look at this picture and notice how the camera is definitely getting a workout this morning, and that's because of the winds. Now, high temperatures yesterday. It was hot and steamy. We had some triple digits out there in toward Del Rio. 101, Dryden 105. We are 93 here in town, 98 in Hondo. And now we are going to be about 20 degrees cooler this afternoon with temperatures only in the, say, mid and upperish 70s around here. And right now we are at 71. So we've dropped down another 3 degrees just in the past about 10, 15 minutes or so. Mid 60s hill country, and the dew points continue to dry out as well. So we were at 75 earlier this morning for dew point temperature, and then just in the past couple of minutes have dropped down another about 6-7 degrees as far as dew points. And just between now and yesterday morning, we've dropped down 14 degrees as far as dew point is concerned, almost 20 degree differences out there in the hill country, and we're not done dropping down as of yet. Because if you recall, yesterday it was just steamy in the afternoon. Not going to be the situation later on today. Now, we've got those few little showers that have been moving through town. As you can see, nothing is left over in town anymore. It was just enough to make the roads kind of damp. Windy conditions and drier air is going to help to dry things out, obviously with the cars as well. But just like Marcus was saying, watch out for a couple of wet spots here. Some broken showers continue to work their way down to the south and to the southeast, and the winds are definitely picking up, as you saw from the live cam, and gusting anywhere 35 close to 40 miles per hour. And actually winds have picked up a little bit out there at the airport, and this is going to be the situation throughout basically the first half of the day. Then the wind, even though it's going to be a breezy afternoon, it won't be as windy as what it is this morning. And we were looking at this last week with the big roller coaster action with the upper level steering winds, and that's what's bringing in that cooler air. Now, with the clear skies tonight and the wind subsiding and the cooler air in place, it's going to be even colder tomorrow morning. We'll be down right around mid 50s, and that means upper, maybe even mid 40s in parts of the hill country. And this whole pattern is really not going to be changing going in through the rest of the week. So it's going to be very nice, pleasant mornings, warmer afternoons as the week rolls on. Downside, though, not a drop of rain in the forecast, other than those couple of sprinkles this morning. 72 degrees today at noon, partly cloudy, still very windy, and then the winds will still be there, but not as strong this afternoon. 75 for a high temperature with mostly sunny skies. And the wind advisory is in effect for San Antonio and the Hill Country up through 1 o'clock today. Tomorrow, then, we will start off 55 degrees, 54 on Wednesday. We're going to be a good 10 degrees below normal and then get up into the about low, eventually mid, upper 80s, close to 90 on Thursday and back to the mid 80s over the weekend.
This is when you walk outside and you say, is that my trash can or is that? They tend to travel.
That's what Katie posted last night on the push alerts. Like,
really?
Hey, have you put out holiday decorations on your front porch? Make sure you tie them down. Yeah.
Got it. All right. Thank you, Mike. Right now, we are at 5:54, 71 degrees.
Go ahead and look at your winning Lotto numbers this morning. We have Pick 3, 729, Fireball 3, Daily 4, 4705, Fireball 3.
Cash 5 numbers 4, 16, 18, 28, 30. Lotto Texas 6, 11, 13, 22, 29, 32. And Powerball 11, 21, 27, 36, 62. Powerball 24. Power Play 3.
Good Monday morning coming up here on GMA. That bombshell report from the New York Times about President Trump's tax returns. With just 36 days until the election, 48 hours until the first presidential debate, the new report finds that he paid no federal income tax in 11 out of 18 years examined. We're going to have more on the biggest revelations and then the fallout and what the president is saying this morning. It is all ahead right here on GMA.
Still ahead on Good Morning San Antonio's Monday edition. Doctors say high blood pressure is a growing concern for many Americans. We'll take a look at what you need to know when it comes to keep your blood pressure at a healthier level. Outside with Trans Guide, slick streets in some spots around town, taking a live look at 1604 at Old Houseman. We'll check back in with Marcus and Mike, get updated on the cold front and how much cooler it's going to be for the next couple of mornings. It's going to be an interesting week weather-wise. We'll check in with the guys coming up.
A shooting here on the northeast side appears to be at the hands of San Antonio police. I'm Katrina Weber. I'll have a live report.
This morning, police have one man in custody after they say he stabbed his mother. We'll tell you what led up to that incident.
And taking a look outside with live cam this morning, it is now 70 degrees. Those temperatures are dropping, and we're going to talk to Mike all about it in just a minute.
Live from KSAT 12, Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
And all our live cams are shaking this morning. Good morning to you. It is Monday. It is September 28th.
Happy Monday. Thanks for joining us. We are excited about those temperatures dropping, but first let's go ahead and check traffic with Officer Marcus Trujillo. I know there's some wet spots out there.
There are, Stephanie, and it could pose problems for this morning commute for some folks. Hopefully it'll dry up before we get more vehicles out there on the roadway. Right now that's 410 at Highway 151. You can see definitely starting to pick up in volume in both directions. Then I-10 rim through that construction zone. Eastbound, westbound lanes, not too bad at this point. Highway 151 and 410 looking even better. And Sprucewood Lane at 21, looks like those roads are finally drying out. Mike, earlier we saw them very, very slick and very reflective on the camera shot.
Yeah, because one thing helping dry them out, not only the traffic, but also windy conditions, drier air moving on in here. And the rain has kind of moved on through. It's been associated right along the front as it's started to move on in through the area. And as you can see, this live cam down there at Brook City Base is also getting a workout. We are at 70 right now, 64 Bernie Stage and 65 in Comfort. So we've continued to drop down. We've actually lost about 10 degrees in the past roughly 2 hours around here. We started off up around 80. Dew points were up around the mid 70s, and the dew point has actually dropped down almost 20 degrees from earlier this morning with that dry air that continues to move on in here. Pleasanton still has a dew point of up to 75, but that's going to be changing. Wind is out of the north at about 20-25 miles per hour. These are the sustained winds. Then you've got the gusts on top of it, 36 in New Braunfels, 37 in Hondo. It's going to be very blustery, at least throughout the first portion of the day, with the wind advisory. San Antonio up I-35 and going out 90 to the west and including the hill country. Winds at times may gust close to 40 miles per hour, which has already been the situation this morning. There's the line of showers, which as you can see is just about almost almost completely falling apart, working its way down to the southeast. No more rain. This is all just some clutter on the radar site there. So yes, things should continue to dry out as the morning rolls on. 65 degrees, so we'll continue to drop down. Those couple of little sprinkly showers down to the southeast, and that's pretty much going to be about it. And then we will drop into the 60s, come back up into the low 70s at noon, and only going for 75 for high temperature today. Wind is going to be out of the north primarily. And like I said, kind of breezy. And next couple of mornings, it is definitely going to be even chillier around here, downright cold in some spots. Details in just a couple of minutes. Mark?
Thank you, Mike. Let's get to your top story. Breaking news. It appears San Antonio police have shot a man in a home on the northeast side. They've closed off an area in a neighborhood not far from I-35 and Eisenhower Road.
Our Katrina Weber is live in the 4100 block of Tropical Drive now. Have you learned anything more about how this happened?
Well, I think it's safe to say that we're in the dark, pretty much literally and figuratively. The police have not really released any information other than to confirm that an officer was involved in this shooting. And as far as literally goes, the lights all down the street here, that is where police are working. We're about a block and a half down from where the shooting happened. Police moved us back here about a half hour ago or so. And have not really released any details on what happened. Let me give you a look at the video from when we were closer. You can see that there was a frenzied scene when we got here shortly after 4:30 this morning. We did see a man being loaded into an ambulance. He did not appear to be an officer. He appeared to be a civilian, so we can make the inference that it was a police officer who did the shooting and did wound this man. That man did not seem too happy to see the cameras as we were taking his picture there, but police have not given us any information on what led to this, what kind of call they were here for in the first place, or how they came to shoot that man. We also, at this point, don't know his condition, but again, as he was loaded onto the ambulance, he did appear to be at least alert and awake. Reporting live on the northeast side, Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you, Katrina. New this morning, a man detained after police say he stabbed his mother while she was sleeping. Police tell us it happened just before 3 this morning in the 3000 block of Moss Spring Drive. That's on the city's southwest side. Police say the man was arguing with his mom over car keys because he wanted to go somewhere. His mom then went to bed, and police say that's when he stabbed her. The man was detained for aggravated assault. Meanwhile, his mother is recovering in the hospital.
Well, some people around town say they are a bit uneasy after learning a woman was stabbed on the Riverwalk over the weekend. They say they never expected something like that happened to a place they consider mostly safe. The stabbing happened just after midnight heading into Sunday. We first told you about it right here on GMSA this weekend. San Antonio police say the woman and her boyfriend were walking when a man approached them, pulled out a knife and stabbed the woman in the arm. He then ran off after fighting with the woman's boyfriend. One person we talked to expressed frustration that someone would take advantage of a nice place to commit a senseless crime.
Don't mess with Texas. We're already going through a lot. Adding things to it is just not going to help.
This time, San Antonio police still searching for a suspect, encouraging everyone to be extra aware of their surroundings.
A San Antonio police sergeant is now in custody and facing a DWI charge. Sergeant Glenn Mahalik was arrested yesterday in the 21,000 block of Blanco Road. That's on the far north side past Huebner Road. According to Police Chief William McManus, he has been with the department for 29 years. He will be placed on administrative leave pending the results of a criminal investigation.
And this morning, the Bexar County Medical Examiner saying 29-year-old Jasper Richardson died in a head-on collision with a Via bus. We broke this story yesterday right here on GMSA. San Antonio police say Richardson swerved in oncoming traffic on Foster Road near FM 78. They say the bus driver tried to avoid the crash, but Richardson crashed into the bus. Bus driver and passengers were not hurt in that incident.
Local health officials report 56 new cases of COVID-19 in Bexar County, setting a new daily low. They also announced 3 new deaths related to the virus in last night's daily briefing. In the overall total, Metro Health added more than 2,700 cases to the overall total, but they say those are backlogged cases.
Well, as the COVID-19 virus indicators are now showing the lowest risk level of transmission, city and county parks and facilities are starting to reopen.
Our Sarah Costa joins us live from the newsroom with an update on what is now back open. Good morning.
Good morning. Well, the city of San Antonio says parks and some of its facilities are now open as the COVID-19 virus indicators are showing the lowest level of transmission. City Manager Eric Walsh said city, county, state, and federal virus protocols contributed to the reopening process. According to a statement from the city, each of the reopened facilities will have safety protocols and physical distancing measures in place. Basketball courts, skate parks, playgrounds, sports fields, and fitness stations are among those opening. The 10-person limit at city parks and plazas has been lifted, and reservations for outdoor park amenities is now open. Meanwhile, Bexar County Parks and the Bexar Heritage Center are set to reopen to the public today. The county's playscapes, basketball and tennis courts, and outdoor pavilions will also reopen to the public. County outdoor pavilions will be available to rent for groups of 250 people or less for events exempt from the local and state executive orders. Individuals reserving outdoor pavilions will be required to have their guests use facial coverings, maintain social distancing, and provide their own hand sanitizer. Indoor facilities, including community and adult senior centers, clubhouses, the San Antonio Natatorium, which is an indoor pool, and gyms will remain closed for now. Splash pads also remain closed until March of 2021. Stephanie?
Thank you, Sarah. In your morning headlines, the New York Times report says President Donald Trump only paid $750 in federal income tax in 2016 and 2017. The report also says the president did not pay income taxes in 10 of the past 15 years because he lost more money than he was making. The details of the report shows possible conflicts of interest. We will have more details on the New York Times report in our next half hour.
The U.S. Forest Service will keep every national forest in the state of California closed due to those wildfires. This is video of one of the fires in Napa County, California, which is one of the biggest winemaking regions in the state. Fires spread rapidly, demolishing some buildings in the region. And this is only one wildfire. Several others are still burning with little containment in the most damaging wildfire season the state has seen to date.
In China, 16 workers have died in a coal mine from carbon monoxide. That's according to Chinese state media CCTV. 17 people were trapped in that mine in southwest China. The lone survivor is reportedly in the hospital trying to recover. China says the carbon monoxide was produced from a conveyor belt fire inside that mine.
There are new rules for American companies when dealing with China's largest maker of computer chips. According to the Wall Street Journal, the Commerce Department now says American companies have to get a license before exporting certain technologies. The Trump administration says there are questions about whether the company SMIC provides technology for the Chinese military.
And time now is 6:10 and 70 degrees.
A local woman trying to help people who are struggling with alcohol addiction. We'll see her cafe in town and how it offers help to those in need.
And parenting is not an easy task, and the pandemic may not be making it any easier. After the break, we will hear why it's so important for parents to think about their mental health right now.
Outside with live cam, do you grab an umbrella and a jacket, or just one or the other?
All of the above.
Probably so, but we're going to get an update on the forecast coming up. Interesting week with Mike Osterhage still to come. 6:14, welcome back. The pandemic is still putting a lot of pressure on parents as many still adjust to changes of working, raising a child, and getting them through school, right?
That is very true, which is why psychiatrists say it is important for parents to take active steps to help maintain their mental health.
That's right. Sarah Costa joins us live here in the studio to talk more about some of the ways that parents can do that. And we've talked to a local therapist about this.
We have. And, you know, it's if you're watching this at home, you're not alone. Stephanie was just telling me how it's been a difficult transition balancing all of it, virtual learning and everything going on with this pandemic. So if you are a parent, one of the biggest thing doctors want you to know is that you're not alone. And Dr. Harry Croft says it is important for parents to realize the stress and strain they may be feeling is not their fault. Local doctor, Dr. Croft, says it's critically important for parents to take care of themselves as well. He says parents should do whatever they can to give themselves a mental break, whether that is eating well, getting some more sleep, or just even taking time to enjoy a warm bath. Whatever it is for you, Dr. Croft says to just do it, because if your battery starts running low, he says you cannot be much help to those around you who may need you. So Dr. Croft also says it can be helpful to talk to other parents going through the same thing. If you are a parent struggling with helping your child learn remotely, he says talking to others can not only help you vent, but it can also teach you valuable coping methods you may not otherwise have known about. And there are many ways to connect right now, whether it's a phone call, a text, a video chat, or even safely meeting up at a place around the city. And lastly, Dr. Croft says to be careful about drinking or taking other drugs to help you get through this pandemic. He says substance abuse can be common and it will just do more harm than good as time goes on. Mark and Stephanie.
Thank you, Sarah. We can have some problems on the roads this morning.
Yeah, we had some slick spots around town. Marcus, how's it looking now?
Well, so far looking pretty good out there. As we take a look at the roadways, you can see there is the map void of any incidents. We did have an accident earlier this morning, but that has since cleared up. Tweety 1 at Hildebrand. Now let's take a look at a couple of TransGuide cameras. Seeing very heavy traffic early this morning. This is 410 at Fredericksburg Road. Just look at the volume of traffic. Probably a lot of folks trying to maybe get to work before that front comes in that Mike's been warning them about. 10 at La Cantera, eastbound and westbound lanes. So far, no issues. All the way to 10 at 1604.
And so it begins, Mike Osterhage.
Yep, and you know, you're asking about jacket or umbrella. Skip the umbrella. I mean, that's over and done with as far as rain is concerned. There's a couple of leftover showers down at the southeast, and that's pretty much about it. And jacket this morning, kind of maybe a light sweatshirt or something. Kind of depends on your tolerance for any cooler temperatures. It'll be down to 65 degrees. Coolish. And very breezy. So yeah, hang on to your hat and go find your garbage can this morning if it gets blown around. Then 75 for a high temperature and still kind of breezy later on this afternoon. Now the next couple of days though, you will definitely need a jacket. Here's a look at live cams. You saw on some of the TransGuide cameras. They are definitely shaking out there, and this is why you don't need an umbrella anymore. There's the line of rain which moved on through here. Roads were wet earlier this morning. The traffic, as well as the wind and the drier air, is helping to dry them out quickly. But like Marcus has pointed out, there still may be a couple of little damp spots here and there, and that's all but kind of fizzle on out. Karn City, you're going to be getting a couple of those little showers there. But again, this is continuing to just sort of die down, if you will. 64 right now in Kerrville, 70 in town. We were at 80 a couple of hours ago, right before the front moved on through here in town, and the dew point temperatures have really dried out. Now, it's still 75 in Pleasanton. That's what the rest of us were at the humid air that we were in earlier this morning. It was just extremely humid out there, but obviously the dew points have dropped down a good 20 degrees at least in the past couple of hours as the front has been working its way on in here. We will continue to get dry air moving in, so we are going to have just gorgeous, gorgeous weather later on today, albeit on the windy side. And then with the dry air in place, no wind to deal with tonight. It's really going to be getting cold the next couple of mornings with these dew points well down there in the 30s. Then humidity comes back up. But notice, I mean, it's just making it up to about 60 by late in the weekend. So it won't be as dry, but it's not going to be like what it was yesterday when we had still a ton of humidity out there with those temperatures that were up in the 90s. Windy conditions, north 15, 20, 25 miles per hour, and the gusts on top of that, 37 in Hondo, 36 in New Braunfels. We have seen wind gusts as high, close to 40 miles per hour around Hondo earlier this morning, as well as up the road in New Braunfels and also in Austin. Gusts were about 40 miles per hour earlier this morning. And this is, of course, just the sort of the leading edge of the much, much cooler air. Now, that's where we're going to be tomorrow morning with the 50s here in town, looking at mid 50s here in town. And then, you know, do the math. Usually, rule of thumb, you can subtract about, 7-10 degrees. And that's what the temperatures are going to be like in the hill country tomorrow morning. So yes, jackets are definitely going to be part of your wardrobe tomorrow morning. And you can just look at this satellite picture, and there's the clouds that are coming straight down from Canada. So we've got this pool of colder air coming down in here. It's not the coldest air that we've seen on the national map. I mean, earlier, a couple of weeks ago, we saw some 20s up around International Falls, but that never made it down here. So for us, yes, this is some of the coolest air, obviously, we've seen around here in a long time. 72 degrees today at noon and still very windy. And then later on this afternoon, we're going to be up to 75 degrees. That's all we're going to rebound. Maybe even some upper 70s around the area. And we've got the wind advisory up until 1 o'clock. So windiest this morning, first part of the day, San Antonio and the hill country. And then the next few days, look at that, mid 50s the next couple of mornings. Big warm ups. I mean, 30, almost 35 degrees from the low to the high, and we'll top off about 90 on Thursday and then back to the mid 80s. So just a gorgeous week.
And for a lot of folks around here, mid 50s is plenty cool.
Yes.
Yeah, that's like frigid for a lot of folks.
Thank you, Mike.
No
but then
big
we can enjoy
parkas,
the
though.
afternoon. Yeah.
Yes, you don't need the Arctic Explorer parka.
Not yet. Not yet. Right now, 621, 70 degrees.
And new details are emerging about an alleged attempt to kidnap the grandchild of NFL great Joe Montana inside his California home. We're going to learn more in today's GMA First Look.
Here's your secret word of the day. Enter it on KSAT.com/Circle K for a monthly chance to win free gas for a year. Every entry wins a medium coffee. Win with Circle K and GMSA.
Frustrated that clothes come out of the dryer wrinkles? Next time, try Bounce Wrinkle Guard dryer sheets. The world's first mega sheet with 3 times more wrinkle relaxers. The Wrinkle Guard shirt has less wrinkles and static and more softness and freshness. Bounce out wrinkles with Bounce Wrinkle Guard dryer sheets.
This is an important message for all current and former Boy Scouts.
The Boy Scouts of America has declared bankruptcy.
If you were sexually abused in scouting, you could receive compensation.
But you must file a claim in the bankruptcy case by November 16th, 2020.
You may file a sexual abuse claim regardless of your current age or the year the sexual abuse occurred.
For more information, visit officialbsaclaims.com
or call 866-907-2721.
The sun is pretty incredible. It makes our Lipton tea leaves better, which makes this smooth tea taste better. And time spent together even better. And drinking Lipton every day can help support a healthy heart.
In this morning's GMA First Look, a big scare for one of America's most celebrated quarterbacks. Football legend Joe Montana making the greatest play of his life. He and his wife saving their 9-month-old grandchild from an attempted kidnapping. According to the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, the child was asleep in a playpen in the family's living room when a 39-year-old woman entered the home and snatched the baby. Authorities say the couple confronted the woman, tried to de-escalate the situation, and asked for the suspect to give back their grandchild. A tussle ensued, and Mrs. Montana was able to safely pry the child out of the suspect's arms. The suspect, identified as Sodzi Dolzel, fled the home. Montana flagged down deputies patrolling the area, and the woman was taken into custody soon after, charged with kidnapping and burglary. And we'll have much more on this harrowing story coming up at 7 a.m. With your GMA First Look, I'm Kaylee Hartung, ABC News, Los Angeles.
The ban on Tick Tock is on hold hours before it was set to take effect. A federal judge blocked the Trump administration's move to ban Tick Tock downloads in the U.S. The move gives the app's owner more time to work on its deal with Oracle and Walmart.
A flying car is making news at the Beijing Motor Show. The electric Kiwi Go-Go has a drone-like look to it and can carry 2 people. It's designed to fly about 80 feet in the air, but don't expect it to hit the market anytime soon. The manufacturer says it's in the research and development phase.
Well, looks like nothing is safe from hackers, not even your coffee machine. A tech researcher hacked into a smart coffee maker just to see if it was possible. He launched a ransom attack, successfully creating a noisy malfunction. It could only be stopped by paying up or pulling the plug permanently.
And this week on What's Up South Texas, a woman who says she is a recovered alcoholic takes us inside the nonprofit she co-founded to help others battling drug and alcohol addiction. Terry Lopez says she has been sober for several years now. She founded Serenity Star in Smithville and also opened Comfort Cafe here in San Antonio. The goal of the organization is to be vulnerable for change and people fighting their addiction. She says it's also a place where they allow families to recover together instead of being separated.
To see people coming out of institutions or jails or foster care or, and then seeing that if they had the opportunity for somebody to love them and they could love themselves, what a difference it makes.
Lopez says the goal is to open a recovery residential center for alcoholics and drug addicts here in San Antonio. To see more on their journey, you can head to our website at KSAT.com.
Time check, 6:27, now 70 degrees.
The president is calling out the New York Times after the newspaper published a report on his federal income taxes. We're going to learn more about that report in the next half hour.
A man is in the hospital after a shooting here on the northeast side, and it appears police may be the ones who pulled the trigger. Good morning, I'm Katrina Weber. I'll have that story.
A bombshell report shedding light on President Trump's tax returns. I'm ABC's Elizabeth Schulze. That story coming up.
Outside with live cam, but just now waking up. Haven't stepped outside yet. That cold front is here, and you're going to notice some changes. We'll get details from Mike Osterhage in just a moment. And good morning to you. It is Monday, the 28th.
Hi, good morning. Hope you had a beautiful weekend, and we are enjoying the temperatures dropping. But for now, we want to check the roads with Officer Marcus Trujillo.
What's the latest out there, Marcus?
Well, we do have another accident popping up, and it's in an area where we have a lot of traffic every morning, despite the fact a lot of folks are still working from home. So let's zoom into that far northwest side. Bandera Road, 1604, just outside 1604. Now, very heavily traveled, especially in the mornings and the evenings for those folks that are going to work. So watch out for emergency vehicles responding to that. And then the roads are still slick, and we're starting to see a little bit of things as far as drawing out here, I-10 and Medical, but then we're starting to get a little bit more just in the last few minutes. A little bit more, looks like either moisture on the lens, or a little bit of fogginess out there, Mike.
Well, we got a good breeze out there, so that's helping to dry things out. Drier air is moving on in here as well. And I think there may still be kind of dampness on the roads here and there, it looks like. Not completely dry yet. So as you've been saying, just kind of take it easy. But one thing, boy, notice how the cameras are definitely shaking out there. And we have got temperatures that have, well, dropped down about 10 degrees in the past few hours from roughly 4 o'clock this morning. And dew point temperatures have dropped down about 20 degrees from the same time this morning as that front moves on through. And the winds have picked up out of the north right now, 21 miles per hour out there at the airport. And dew points right now are mid 50s. Low 50s out in portions of the hill country. We continue to dry out, and again, winds are 20, 25, 30 miles per hour, and then some gusts on top of that, and that's going to be the case all morning long. Rain pretty much has fizzled on out completely. There may be a leftover little sprinkle way down here to the southeast, but we have those few showers, very narrow band of rain that move through along with the front. We do have the wind advisory in effect up until 1 o'clock this afternoon, and windy, couple of showers left over this morning. That's it, mostly sunny and up to 75 today. Then we are going to be seeing a chilly start and beautiful. How long does it last? Details coming up in just a couple of minutes. Stephanie, Mark.
Thank you, Mike. Late breaking news. Chief McManus giving us an update on what appears to be an officer-involved shooting.
That's happening on Topical Drive. We're going to go ahead and check with Katrina first with an update.
Well, good morning. Yes, the chief did just finish that briefing with us, telling us exactly what happened here this morning. It is an officer-involved shooting. An officer actually did shoot a man here on Tropical Drive near Palm Bay. Let me just give you a look at what is happening right now. We still have an active investigation scene. Now, police say that this started with a domestic violence call around 4:30 this morning. They found a teenager at the home. She was the one who apparently had called police. And then as she was engaging with the officer at the door, they say a man came around the corner with a gun in his hand, inquiring who was at the door. And then at that point, the officer did fire shots, injuring that man. He's the one who was taken to the hospital. In fact, we have video of that whole scene this morning as it happened. We got here shortly after it happened, and we did see a man on an ambulance, loaded into an ambulance on a stretcher. He appeared to be alert and talking. That's the man who was shot by an officer this morning, shot at least once, possibly twice, taken to the hospital. And we don't have an update on his condition yet, but it does not appear that he suffered any life-threatening injuries. But this whole thing still being investigated, and the chief did caution us that this is the preliminary information, that the investigation is continuing. Reporting live on the northeast side, Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
With less than 40 days until the election, the New York Times released a report about President Donald Trump's taxes.
The Times reports that the president paid just $750 in federal income tax in 2016 and 2017.
ABC's Elizabeth Schulze has the latest.
This morning, President Trump's personal finances in the spotlight. The New York Times saying it obtained more than 2 decades of tax returns for the president and his businesses, uncovering years of data that he went to great lengths to keep hidden from the public. The documents, which have not been seen by ABC News and have not been revealed by the New York Times to avoid unveiling its sources, reportedly show the president's business empire hemorrhaging cash. The newspaper reporting President Trump paid just $750 in federal income taxes in both 2016 and 2017, and no federal income taxes in 10 of the past 15 years, because he was losing more money than he made. The president responding late Sunday.
Totally fake news. No, actually, I paid tax, and you'll see that as soon as my tax returns. It's under audit.
The Times report also says lobbyists and foreign officials paid top dollar at properties like Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort and his Washington hotel. Possible conflicts of interest because the president did not divest from them when taking office. The president's tax write-offs over the years include more than $70,000 for haircuts while on The Apprentice, nearly $96,000 paid for Ivanka Trump's favorite hair and makeup artist, and approximately $2 million for Trump and Donald Trump Jr.'s legal defense. In a statement to ABC News, the Trump Organization says in part the story is, quote, riddled with gross inaccuracies. Over the past decade, the president has paid tens of millions of dollars in personal taxes to the federal government. Joe Biden pouncing, his campaign rolling out these stickers last night and telling CNN,
I think it contributes to this larger sense that we have from Donald Trump that he looks down on working people.
President Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden are set to face off in the first presidential debate tomorrow night in Cleveland. Elizabeth Schulze, ABC News, Washington.
And as we just heard, the first presidential debate is tomorrow. It is scheduled at 8 in the evening, and Fox News anchor Chris Wallace will moderate. Some of the topics include the candidates' records, the Supreme Court, the pandemic, and the economy.
The former Louisville police detective involved in Breonna Taylor's shooting death expected to be arraigned today. Brett Hankison was indicted on first-degree wanton endangerment charges last week. According to his attorney, Hankison is planning to plead not guilty. The former detective posted a $15,000 bond after he was booked Wednesday. The aftermath of the Taylor incident sparked nationwide protests.
President Donald Trump's former campaign manager, Brad Parscale, was hospitalized after he threatened to harm himself. He was reportedly armed with a gun in his Fort Lauderdale home this weekend. Officers eventually got into the home and took him to a nearby hospital. Parscale has some ties to Texas, particularly San Antonio. He is a former San Antonio resident and a Trinity University graduate and began working for President Trump's campaign during the 2016 campaign. He launched the official website for the campaign, and he also handled social media efforts.
6:38, 70 degrees.
Doctors say high blood pressure is a growing concern in Americans. After the break, we're going to learn about some ways to keep your blood pressure at a healthy level.
Experts from Healthline say high blood pressure can increase the risk of a heart attack, stroke, and heart failure. New research shows more cases of uncontrolled high blood pressure is a growing issue among adults. One of the ways you can manage hypertension is to understand and be aware of your condition. People with high blood pressure need to know that managing it is an ongoing process. One of the best ways to do that is to live a healthier lifestyle. Eating better, exercising regularly, and taking prescribed medication are steps in the right direction. You'll also want to get it under control. Health experts recommend getting a blood pressure reading at least once a year. They say you need to be aware of which blood pressure category you fall under and to make follow-up appointments with your doctor. Experts also say you can help by encouraging your loved ones to make healthy lifestyle choices. RJ Marcus, KSAT 12 News.
Pro football coverage powered by Davis Law Firm.
In morning sports, Dallas Cowboys almost pulled off another comeback win, this time in Seattle, but they fell just short yesterday. After falling behind to the Seahawks by 15 points in the third quarter, Cowboys managed to fight back. Dak Prescott led the team through the air, even converting on a 2-point conversion to help put the Cowboys up by 1 point in the fourth. But with just 4 minutes left, the Seahawks were able to march down the field and score in their own stadium, putting Seattle up 38-31. After an interception on the Cowboys' last drive, that's where the score would stay. Cowboys now 1-2 on the season. The team will come back home to play the Browns next week in Arlington. Kickoff is scheduled for noon on Sunday. Well, the Houston Texans did not have much luck in their game either. Texans on the road playing the Steelers. Houston led at the half, up 21-17, but the team disappeared in the second half, not scoring a single point. The defense also allowed the Steelers to run all over them, giving up 173 yards rushing on a way to a 28-21 loss. The only part of the positives of the game, Texans' J.J. Watt played with both his brothers. It was only the fourth time in NFL history 3 brothers played on the same field at the same time during an NFL game. After the game, J.J. was asked what it felt like to play with his family.
Yeah, I mean, it's all right. Someday we'll look back on it and it'll be pretty cool. But right now, sitting at 0-3, it doesn't feel that great. So, I mean, it's a special thing for our family. But right now, it's about the Houston Texans and figuring out what we need to do to win a football game.
Yeah, Texas still searching for their first win on the season. They'll head back to Houston Sunday to play the Vikings. That game is scheduled for noon as well. To the NBA, the LA Lakers and Miami Heat will play each other in the NBA Finals this year. The Heat went on to beat the Celtics last night to advance, while the Lakers beat the Nuggets over the weekend. It'll be the 10th Finals appearance for the Lakers. LeBron James, who led the Heat in 2012 and 2013 as NBA champs. Game 1 of the Finals is this Wednesday, 8 o'clock, San Antonio time. In Major League Baseball, the Stros going to the postseason. However, they will do so with a losing record. 1 year after leading the league with 107 wins, the Astros finished with a 29-31 record in the shortened 2020 season. The Astros, as well as this year's Milwaukee Brewers, are the only two teams to ever make the postseason with a losing record. The Astros will play the Minnesota Twins in that first series.
And it's going to feel more like fall this week, and that may get you in the mood for some fall-like activities. Our Sarah Costa joins us live to share some resources to make the most of the cooler weather. Good morning.
Good morning. Well, hues of yellow, orange, and red will soon begin to paint the hill country and Texas state parks now that the fall season has officially arrived. Right now on KSAT.com, we have all the resources you need to have to plan a fun and safe fall trip. Last year, the Texas Parks and Wildlife posted images of fall foliage from places like the Devil's River State Natural Area near Del Rio, and also the Lake State Park near Burnett and South Llano River State Park in Junction. With some state parks expected to sell out early for day trips, it's best to plan ahead, especially with limited capacity at some places due to the pandemic. Now, orchards are also a great way to practice social distancing while still enjoying the freedom of leaving your house. Genski Orchards near Fredericksburg offers everything from a giant corn maze in the fall, which is currently open, to a pick-your-own harvest experience year-round. Sweetberry Farm is great for a fall visit. There is a Texas-shaped maze, giant pumpkins, hay rides, and a pick-your-own flower opportunity. Sweetberry Farm is located at 1801 FM 1918 in Marble Falls. And again, you can find all these stories and more right now on KSAT.com. Mark and Stephanie.
Just about 6:47, 70 degrees.
And we are excited about the dropping temperatures, but first let's check the roads with Officer Marcus Trujillo.
Well, thank you, Stephanie. And as we take another look at the roadways, folks, you can see that for the most part we're in the green, but we do have that accident hiding behind the traffic banner there towards the top of your screen. So let's zoom in. Bandera, 1604, just outside Bandera Road. That's where we have that accident currently in the clearance stages. So the main lanes look okay at this point. And then right now, I-10 to Medical, eastbound and westbound lanes seem to be flowing fairly well. But if you see on the access road of eastbound I-10 there, we do have some flashing lights up ahead. Hopefully, that's just a traffic stop and not another accident. Mike?
Thank you very much, sir. And boy, you want fall? Look at this picture. I think that was just so fall. Nice little gravel road heading off into the sunset there. Orange sky. Great picture. Thank you very much for that. You want fall also? Just step outside because the front has moved on through. And look at the camera shaking. It's really getting a workout this morning. 70 here in town. We've dropped 10 degrees in the past couple of hours. Mid-60s in the hill country. The air has really dried out. We kept pointing out Pleasanton was still at 75 degrees for the longest time. And now the dew point has dropped down almost 15 degrees just in roughly the past half hour. We've dropped down about 20 elsewhere dew point temperatures. Since yesterday, it's been a 15-degree drop in dew point temperatures. But of course, just taking into account the humidity, actually, but this is going into yesterday morning, but the humidity was even higher just earlier this morning. So we will continue to see dew points drop down throughout the rest of the day, and it's going to be bone dry air. That then is going to set us up for a really chilly morning tomorrow morning as well as Wednesday, because won't have the wind to keep things stirred up, and we'll have clear skies and dry air. So perfect radiational cooling, and it's definitely going to be jacket weather the next couple of days. Wind is out of the north at about 20-25 miles per hour on average. We have some gusts into the 30s. And it's going to be very blustery throughout the rest of the morning. And when you look at the satellite picture, boy, you don't need to put any wind lines on there to see where the colder air is coming from. Notice how we've got this big sort of roller coaster action going on there with the upper level steering winds. And that's what pushed the front on through here. And watch right there. Yep, that's a little snow the higher elevation. Now, granted, higher elevations, but interesting to see that on the map. 29 degrees right now in Casper, Wyoming is the cold spot. So this is not the coldest air of the season that's invaded the United States. That was a couple of weeks ago. It was actually about 28 degrees colder in International Falls, but obviously this is the coldest that has made it down this far. And it's going to be fall all week long. Like I said, very chilly the next couple of mornings and then beautiful in the afternoons, starting with today, 72 degrees at noon, partly cloudy, still very windy this afternoon. And basically the first portion of the day, but still breezy in the afternoon. 75 for a high temperature today. Wind advisory up until 1 o'clock today. And this is San Antonio up I-35 going out to the west and all the hill country. And in some areas, because it has been kind of dry lately, watch out. There are no formal red flag warnings, but just watch out with the high fire danger today, especially out in the hill country. And then mid-50s the next couple of mornings around here.
Boy, that
gorgeous.
That rain moved in quick and left quickly, didn't it?
Yeah, narrow band, just enough to make the roads kind of slippery.
Just for today.
Yep.
10 till 70 degrees.
And coming up, the 2020 election being less than 2 months away, many people may be feeling what mental health experts are calling election stress. Join us tomorrow on GMSA, where we learn ways to cope.
And outside with live cam, holding at about 70 degrees, but look at the wind shaking that camera looking back towards the downtown skyline. The news you need to know before you go, and another peek at time-saver traffic still to come.
Good Monday morning coming up here on GMA. That bombshell report from the New York Times about President Trump's tax returns. With just 36 days until the election, 48 hours until the first presidential debate, the new report finds that he paid no federal income tax in 11 out of 18 years examined. We're going to have more on the biggest revelations and then the fallout and what the president is saying this morning. It is all ahead right here on GMA.
A domestic violence call here on the northeast side leads to much more for San Antonio police. Good morning, I'm Katrina Weber. The officer shot a man at a home here on Tropical Drive. The police got that call around 4:30 this morning. They say when they arrived, they found a teenage girl who answered the door. She apparently is the one who called officers here. Police say while the officer was talking to her at the door, a man came around the corner with a gun in his hand, spoke to the officer in a threatening manner, and at some point the officer pulled out his weapon and shot the man. He was taken to a hospital, shot at least once, possibly twice, and police are still investigating this situation. They say no one else inside the house and no officers were injured here this morning, but they still are conducting the investigation. Reporting from the northeast side, Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
Check traffic at 5 till 7.
How's it looking, Officer Marcus Trujillo?
Well, as we take a look, Stephanie, we do have another accident coming in. This one's going to be eastbound Highway 90, right there passing the Nogalitos exit, approaching that 35 north and south exit. Once again, eastbound Highway 90, it's going to be on those two lanes exiting for 35 north and south. And then we still have that accident, Bandera, just outside 1604. Mike?
Thank you, sir. And boy, the camera is still shaking out there, and temperatures have dropped another degree here in town. 69, mid 60s in the hill country. Wind out of the north, 15, 20, 25 miles per hour, gusting on top of that. Wind advisory for San Antonio in the hill country through 1 o'clock today. Excuse me, we'll be up to, wow, where'd my numbers go? We'll be up to 75 degrees later on today, and then 82 tomorrow, but very chilly the next couple of mornings with mid-50s for low temperatures and nice all week long.
It's a fluid situation. You wanted to keep your options open as far as temperatures,
so
Mike.
Just leave them that way.
Why not?
It's beautiful either way.
Ghosts in the computer somewhere.
Have a great Monday.